welcome or welcome back. Today's video is um, quite a deviation from anything that I've done before. It is probably the most personal video that I've made or will make, and the most sensitive one. It's also the one that is giving me the hardest time to describe and kind of jump into, which made me wonder, why do I even want to share it? But first, let me tell you a little bit what it's about, and then why do I want to share it. It is about a book project that I made, a photo book that I made for my wife as a gift. And a fair content warning, it does not depict death in any way, but it does center on a NICU experience and a premature baby. And I say that because if it is an experience that is very raw to you personally, you may or may not be ready to watch this. You may or may not be interested in watching it. That said, I do think it could be very nice for NICU parents if when you're ready. When you're ready. Anyway, the reason that I want to share it, really, I came up with four reasons. One, I'm proud of it. Like, I do a lot of projects and usually they turn out fine. So, usually I'm proud of them. And I like to share things that I'm proud of. But this one involved quite a lot of DIY and creativity and some sneakiness because I had to do this under my wife's nose. So, I'm proud of it and I like to share those things. Two, I want to encourage people to consider making photo books of their dolls, of pictures of their dolls as gifts. If you share a passion for American Girl dolls with someone else, you can make this gift for them, and it's amazing. Incorporate pictures of their dolls. If not, make it for yourself. Or tell somebody to make it for you. Tell a loved one to make it for you. Give them the pictures and tell them to go to town. It's a really special gift. In our case, I've made two of them now. One of them was not a sensitive topic at all, just best pictures of the year, and put some quotes in there and little captions. And even my daughter loves us to flip through that book and kind of read her a story. Anyway, consider making a book featuring your dolls, is the second reason. Third is I want to share that working through um, a tougher topic in your life, something that you might have trauma surrounding via your dolls could be very therapeutic. Creating this book was healing for me. I think that for the rest of my life, I will have some unresolved trauma and I will feel some effects of our NICU experience. It definitely kind of gets muted as time goes on, but it's there. And I was surprised how cathartic and therapeutic this was. So I wanted to pass that on. And then lastly, if you are a NICU parent, I hope that this can help you feel seen and heard and less alone. Before we get started, if you haven't done so already, please do subscribe to my channel and tap that notification bell so you get an alert when I post new videos. It's easy, it's free, and it will put a smile on my face, which will make you feel good about yourself. Okay, let's dive in. I think first I'm just going to tell you a little bit of the story of my wife's pregnancy and our daughter's birth and the ensuing NICU stay. And then at the end of the video, we can talk shop a little bit. I can point out some of the DIY things and the creative things that I did that I'm proud of. So, fairly early on in Grace's pregnancy, they determined that she was likely to give birth early and they started monitoring her. She had a hospital stay, was put on bed rest. Basically, it was a game of how long can we keep her pregnant? We know she's not going to make it to term. And she actually went into the hospital for the final stay to deliver our daughter at 29 weeks and 3 days. We had actually been in the hospital earlier that morning and asked them if they could not admit her because the baby shower was scheduled for that day and she really wanted to have her baby shower. So we promised to be good and promised that she wouldn't move. She sat on a zero gravity chair the entire time, and we promised that if things got worse, we would come right back. By the way, I do have consent from my wife to make this video. I'm obviously going to omit certain details about her actual medical situation, but I can't get consent from a toddler. So I am omitting my child's name and birth date and any of the details that were in the photo book that would compromise her privacy. In previous visits to the hospital, they had given Grace steroids to help with the baby's lung development, and we definitely knew the hospital forwards and backwards, but high risk is high risk. When you're about to labor and deliver in very much less than ideal circumstances, it's scary, period. I did what I could and I'm proud of my efforts, but it was impossible to recreate all of the equipment that our infant required in the NICU. IVs, pulse oximeter, security blanket, CPAP machine, feeding tubes, heart monitors, etc., etc., etc. I am really grateful for the caring for baby dolls. Without one, I couldn't have even done this project. Does it capture the fragility of an infant born at 29 weeks and 4 days into gestation? No, no, it doesn't. But it gave me a way to tell our story. And these dolls gave me a way to capture and represent the grief and the pain that we experienced. In our NICU experience, we were overwhelmed by the equipment and the number of employees that just flit in and out of the room while your private struggles are just laid out there before often unconcerned strangers. Like you're trying to pump or you're crying and you're processing things, and random people are just walking in and out like you're a picture on the wall. And it was easy to feel relegated to the sidelines sometimes, especially depending on the nurse. Some people really made an effort to involve you, but even that, to feel like you're getting the gift of being acknowledged as a parent was surreal. And it was so odd to feel simultaneously extremely grateful for and extremely resentful of the people and the technology that were keeping our child alive. A saving grace in all of this was the Ronald McDonald Room upstairs. You could pop up there to grab snacks or hot chocolate for free because the cafeteria got expensive. And it was also a space away from the stressful beeps and alarms and rushed NICU staff, but it was still close enough to get back to baby quickly. The biggest benefit of that room was the parent advisor, Ashley, who has since become a friend. And there were weekly events on Mondays, which was a parent support group, and Wednesdays, pizza night. And just being around other people who really got it was crucial. And they didn't know it at the time, but the friendships that we made in those meetings helped us navigate the challenges and fears we faced even after we left the hospital. We got to know that hospital pretty well and all the food options in it, hitting the Starbucks and the cafeteria. But fortunately, we also had friends and family who were very generous and enabled us to have really good food via Uber Eats or Grubhub or whatever. Some days were mostly good and we relished them. Some days were mostly mundane. And some days were mostly hard, like failed attempts to come off the CPAP, nurses who approached her care like they were part of a NASCAR pit crew, feeding and breathing struggles, clogged ducts, insensitive lactation consultants, milk production challenges, conflicting information about primary care nurses, just all around crap days. Most days, though, were a mixed bag. First outfit, first invasive eye exam, first bath, first shots, first Harry Potter book, first time she pooped on my hand, first visit from grandparents, first time hanging up on a nurse in anger. It was a roller coaster ride. So we just had to let her do her thing on her schedule and take it one day at a time. And somehow, finally, we made it. After 71 days in the hospital, we got the green light to leave, packed all of our belongings in the plastic bags they gave us, bid our temporary home away from home farewell, and left the hospital for the last time. Home at last, where she belonged, and ready to begin her next adventure. So, that is the abbreviated version of how our daughter came into the world. Some details that I feel might bear mentioning: the isolette, which is basically the bed where our daughter spent the first 2.5 months of her life, was difficult to recreate. Obviously, my version was very simplified, but it started with a refrigerator organization bin, which is pretty hard plastic and not the easiest thing to work with. But once I finally was able to cut the circles out, which are where you would put your hands through, as you can see in the pictures, I put clear, flexible tubing around the edges. One, so they wouldn't be sharp edges and wouldn't damage our doll's hands, but also that kind of mimics what helps with the airtight seal in an actual isolette. The breast pump flanges I thought were a freaking stroke of genius. They were on Amazon and labeled something like perfume bottle funnels. And I just had to trim them a little bit, but they're perfect. They're perfect. The nasal cannula, again, very, very small diameter, flexible tubing from a hardware store. And I used masking tape. I actually put masking tape on a non-stick surface, like think wax paper or the paper that you peel a band-aid off of. And once I had the masking tape on it, I used a hole punch and was able to peel the little circles off of the nonstick backing and tape the nasal cannula to the doll's face. So I think that actually turned out pretty authentic looking. The heart monitor patches, same thing, a little bit bigger size hole punch, but it's just masking tape and embroidery floss makes the wires. The NICU graduate onesie, I cannot take credit for. The Etsy shop Sew and Bow Co. I'm going to link them in the description. Um, Makes a lot of different things that are sized for caring for baby, and we have purchased a lot of clothing from that shop. So I reached out to Christina and asked if she could custom make this for me, and she was fantastic. She was really excited to help with the project, so we'll highly recommend her, and definitely make sure you check out her shop if you are into caring for baby. The mural is a Harry Potter, Hogwarts Castle, Quidditch pitch, etc. mural that I painted in our daughter's actual room, and I took pictures of it, printed them out, and kind of butted them together to recreate the mural so that I could put the doll in the teeny tiny crib in front of the mural, representing her bedroom. And then the heart monitor screen was some kind of our generation tray. I don't even know what set it's from, but I just printed out a NICU heart monitor on paper, sized it ahead of time, and it's just like taped to the back of a stick of some sort that I painted. It was really easy, but I think in the pictures it looks pretty legit. So, if you for some reason would like to do this project because it's relevant to you, feel free to reach out to me for any specific specs. I'm happy to share in detail anything that I did. I just don't think it applies to most people who are watching this. If you are watching this and this is a story that hits home or an experience that hits home, again, I see you, I hear you. You're welcome to reach out to me. It's a really tough time. And in my experience, it didn't get easy the minute we left the hospital. So, um, if you are at home now and still struggle, know that you are definitely not alone in that either. So there's that. Probably the most vulnerable and sensitive and personal video I will do. I hope that you enjoyed it. This project was really dear to my heart. I have not felt as emotionally invested in any other American Girl project I've taken on. And my sobbing wife opening the book and looking through it was all the payoff I needed. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you will join me for my next video.